Okay, new day, new week, new opportunities. Uh, Immediately, I would like to divert the attention to the calendar this week. It is very, very packed with events. Starts off with Tuesday, cash rate for order, CPI for CAD. Then we have CPI for GBP, and the most important, federal funds rate, FOMC statement, and followed up by FOMC press conference. And then next day you have lots of events: PMI, manufacturing PMI, Swissy policy rate, etc. etc. Whole week is just packed with events. So you gotta be careful this week, right? We'll start with inside week. Inside week assets. So plenty of assets closed as an inside week last week. We'll start off with them. Okay, the first thing that I want to start off with is EG. Oh well, it's already a target. Anyways, so as you can see, last week we didn't get a fill on EG. We had our orders there. Then market moved up on Friday, closed as an inside week. Now we have what? Local higher highs and high lows. Then we have a proper high low, higher high. So what I'm gonna bet on is a wipe off of the low of the week to target the 1.2x extension, because we now have a clean break and close. Well, we'll have in 21 minutes. Clean break and close about the last week's high. Okay. Contextually, I think this setup's a bit risky because you have this resistance range high up there, right? We were in a range, price range, so it can do that. Okay, but we'll just go with the flow. So open of the week, high highs and high lows, so we bet on a long and target the next fib target. Of course, I need a clean break has already happened. I need a clean close above this orange, and then that buy order there gets valid. So that's it for EG. Let's move to oil, right? Because we said that the first thing I'm going to do is go for a oil long next week. That's what I said last week, and we are indeed going to do that. So oil rallied up last week quite nicely. Has this has this sort of a dip, and then a break of market structure. Week opens high highs, high lows, and high high, confirming the trend. Any pullback into the low of the week is a buy to target that and that. Straightforward, very simple. And if you look at it contextually, this was the high resistance. This is what was supposed to be the deviation. Didn't happen. The market pretty much reset everything and then tried it higher. I now expect fast continuation to the upside. Okay. If it comes and pullbacks in there, it pulls back in there. It's not sort of incorrect, but practically doesn't make sense for the market to fail back below the last month's high again. Okay, so two setups we've got already. One's EG, one is oil. Let's move on to dollar. Right, dollar interests me this week because it was an inside week last week. Open of the week, dollar has rallied higher. Okay, taken out the last week's high and then dropped inside. Now, if you remember, we talked about inside week last week as well. So two things, right? Two scenarios from here are quite possible. Number one scenario would be the market just going down from here, just keeps going downhill from here until it sort of takes out the poor lows of the previous week. Okay, so in this case, I don't see any poor lows, but I see a region that was heavily tested and then broken. So one scenario of dollar is that, and that makes sense. Okay, lower low, lower high, lower low. That makes sense. The other one of that, the other one could be a drop off, right? Make people believe that the market's probably going to go down, and that was just a liquidity grab to the upside. And then, you know what? Take this low out, bang. And then when it closes above that, I'll go for a long. So the trigger for dollar long is quite simple. So the trigger for dollar long is, well, market comes in there. It doesn't really have to take this low out, okay? Doesn't really have to take this low out. What it can actually do is hold on to that low, right? That's also fine. Or take that low out, okay? Take that low out, clean break above, clean close above the last week's high, and then we target the 1.2x extension of this level. So there it is. So that's going to be the target. So this is a setup for the dollar. Now I don't trade the dollar. So why am I coming up with a setup for the dollar? I'll show you. Okay. So we're gonna buy any pull back into the weekly open, have our stop there, target there. Okay. That is going to be the setup for the dollar. Let's just save it somewhere. Now, why am I making a setup for the dollar even though I don't trade it? Well, I trade Euro USD. So the long setup on dollar could be a short on euro, or if we decide to go for a short on the dollar, right? We just discussed that short. That short would something look something like this. Okay. So if we decide to go for that short on the dollar, then we will go for a long on the euro. Okay. As far as euro itself is concerned, I'm quite leaning towards a long. Still, even though last week I failed going long, I still lean towards a long only because of the trend. Right, the trend on the H4 is bullish. Have a look. Right, it is a bullish trend, and you cannot deny that. I personally don't go for all of this data. I don't really care about it. I just care about price recency. I know, I know, it sounds quite rubbish, but that's how I trade. Okay, you are free to use your own system to trade. But that's what I do. I still think the medium time frame trend is bullish and will rely on that and expect the price to develop in a manner where, we get along. If we don't, then we don't. Okay. EG we just discussed that. Oh, look at that, it's coming down, right? So if it fails directly after breaking in to the last week's high, what I will have to do is I will have to cancel my order for EG, right? I'll have to cancel this order. So that is something we need to take care about. Let's add an alert so that we don't get caught. So euro is done, dollar is done, EG is done. We'll only look. We will only take a look at currencies in this review, right? In this market analysis. So now coming on to the Aussie dollar, right? On Aussie dollar, we discussed about the structure last week. Okay, so we have this low high, low low, low high, right? Should have been a low high. No, actually makes a higher low, creates a high high. So that then becomes a low. That's a high high, high low, high high. That's how structure changes. Okay. Yes, that was a failed move, and that was just a liquidity grab. Now we have a high high. Okay. So I don't think that's invalidated until we get a clean close or clean break below this level. So if the market starts to go down, I will assume that this was a deviation, right, of this high, and we are probably gonna go into that liquidity sweep region, most likely, right, or at least get a breach of this pink, right? That is, this pink is the last month's mid range or midpoint. So again, depends upon what kind of a price action we get. Keep in mind, right? Keep in mind the lows holding. So if this low holds, right, and then we keep on getting this high highs, high lows, I will go for a long. Because to me, right now, this could be the liquidity grab. Think about it. But that is only for now. But, okay, once we get that, right, once we get a clean break below this, right, then any test in there is a short, at least going for that first target there. Let's have a look. Where can we get the first? Yes, perfect. Yeah. As clean as it gets. So again, long and short both are playable. I am more leaning again this week. I am more leaning on XXX USD longs, and obviously then I'm more leaning towards the USD XXX shorts. That's the bias so far. Let's see what happens. Moving on to NZT USD, quite weak, quite weak as compared to odd and euro. I mean, it's literally the opposite of euro. Again, uh, not much to comment in my opinion. Have a look at the H4. What does the H4 say? Okay, so range, all right, kind of a range low, right? You can see bunch of deviations, low of the deviation holding, big breakout attempt, full reset, right? Again, tries to go to the upside, test of the high, full reset. So very, very choppy market, even on the H4, right? Very, very choppy market. It's into support, but again, such a market, it doesn't really fit well with my system. I know a lot of people who can trade these markets very well. I personally cannot. This kind of a market is actually my weakness. So let's just skip on NZD for now. So that's pretty much it for the currencies. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to look at the Ichimoku of these currencies, especially on the daily and H4. So there we go. There's EG, right? Look at that. It's trying to breach into the cloud. Mm, still bearish. Okay, still bearish. On the H4, flat, but we can see a trend forming, right? Into its range eye and has a trend forming, could easily get rejected. So again, we'll wait it out for the price action. If the market breaks by itself, we'll just get in on a pullback. If it doesn't, then we'll stop and reassess. Okay. Let's just have a look at it again. Yeah, not looking good so far. 11 more minutes for the candle. If it can close above the orange, I'd be happy. If not, I'll just chop off my finger. No. Okay. Euro USD. Look at that. Okay, that's CH4. Never mind. Daily bullish TK crossover. Bullish Kumo cloud. Breakout attempt fails. Wow, that's lovely actually. I really like this. So look at that. Bullish TK crossover. Bullish Kumo cloud. But flat. Okay? Flat. Flat everywhere. Has a breakout attempt. Fails. Okay? Now, imagine, right, or just think about it, if this market tries to get back in this region. I think what it's going to do is, I think it's going to end up creating that as a deviation and then it's going to go to the upside. I think this is a very, very possible scenario. Yep, we are going to save it and then we'll look at, sorry, post them in our Telegram. Well, that's not my channel, that's just my journal. So I've made a journal from Telegram and I just use it to save my ideas and stuff. So yeah, we'll post it on that journal, in that journal later on. Now, for now, I can see a break. That candle breakdown. If that candle starts to get reversed, I think the market's gonna go for a higher high. Nice. Yep, I really like Euro. EG, we just had a look at it. Or USD, or USD. Honestly, I cannot make shit. I cannot make out shit on this. It is in some form of a downtrend, right? It is in some form of a downtrend. So I don't know if it reverses or not. If you look at the weekly, oh wow. Weekly Kumo is now looking to get into the weekly Kumo. Sorry. Uh weekly candle is now looking to get into the weekly Kumo. So weekly Kumo is at 65756. Interesting. I for sure believe that the market will try to take out that high or try to breach that level. Oh, on the daily is already trying to break into the daily cloud. Quite the key level. This 2 penny levels, I know that, but have a look at it for a second. Oh, look at the resistance up there. Wow. Nice, nice, nice. So what we can do is look at that, right? Deviation. That's what we discussed. If the market has a clean breach of those highs, right, closes above that high, we're going to buy a pullback in there to target to the upside. I think that is lovely. That is absolutely lovely. And opposite of that would be simple, right? Take out that high, maybe don't. Just drop below that. I will assume that the rejection is strong, and then we'll look to take it to the downside, right? Nice. Ichimoku. Looking at Ichimoku was very sensible idea. Was a very sensible idea. So can see a lot of things now, very very clearly. Look at that how bearish it is. But then it's into support, right? As we discussed on the price action chart or the FIP chart, it is into support. Now I don't know how it will react, and I don't really care actually. USD CAD actually quite bullish. Has a okay, so that's a bearish streak across over above the cloud. Not a very good bear signal, but then again, with how flat the cloud is, it's not very bullish either. Very typical of a currency. They always show that they're in a range. Always. If you look at the macro of any currency, they are basically ranging. As they should, right? You cannot have a 10%, 15% move in a currency through the course of a month. So trading currencies, again, some people love it, some people hate it. I actually hate it, but I still do trade it. Honestly, CAD looks very good. So look at this. CAD looks quite bullish and CAD looks very good. Okay. Euro looks bullish. AUD kind of neutral, kind of bearish. But then you can see these two things are in trade opposite to each other, right? One's basically telling that dollar is strong against CAD, and one, if goes up, says that the euro is strong against the dollar. But since both are bullish, so they're giving you conflicting signals. Lovely. Anyways, I won't take this walkthrough analysis too long. What I wanted to do was I wanted to look at the CAD, and I can see that on the daily it is actually fine. I mean, it is not bearish, definitely, and not very bullish, right? It looks quite bullish because we have green cloud and price is above the Kumo, but it is quite flat. H4 Kumo breakout, okay, hits the range low, goes into the range high, has a Kumo breakout. One thing I forgot to look at was probably the CAD FIP chart. So there's the FIP chart for CAD. You can see that, okay, that's the low sweep, right? We probably do not have a high broken. Let us check. We do not. There's one. Okay, nice. So there's the low sweep, high broken, right? Attempt of a high high fails, drops into the low. If it creates a high high, right? If it creates a high high, closes above the orange, I'm gonna buy a pullback on CAD and target the upside. So I know it is a counter to my euro long, but I think that makes sense. 1.2, there it is. Again, this is definitely not a trade, so we'll have to come up with a better setup. 1.1 hour, I will never take it. But let's see. Let's see what kind of a setup we get. And oh sorry, what kind of a price action we get. Do we even get a close above that orange? Do we even get a close about that orange? I don't know. Let's add an alert. Okay. CAD is looking to break out of its range high. EG is looking to break out of its range high. Both are quite risky trades, in my opinion. Because you just don't go and break a range high in FX currencies, right? A resistance is resistance until proven otherwise in FX. And I have really learned it the hard way. A resistance is a resistance until proven otherwise in FX. That's not crypto. Speaking of crypto, no. We'll just cut it in. We'll just cut it here. I'm done with the currencies, and for the rest of the market, we'll have a separate video. That's it. Bye.